of Hispanics in this nation with the unveiling of a stamp honoring another distinguished Hispanic. And all these events are happening tonight because of the leadership of Celaya Miranda Yuen, Chair of the Hispanic Leaders Group and Executive Director of Bellas Artes, and most important, the sponsorship of this great institution, the Missouri History Museum, the Hispanic Leaders Group, the Missouri Minority Health Office, community businesses, enterprises, and friends. Without their financial support, it would have been very difficult to achieve. Bienvenidos. We're glad and honored that you're here with us. Will you please all rise and join me in honoring our nation by placing your right hand over your heart and singing the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was the proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, phenoms bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does our Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you. If you can, please. This is an evening where we call upon the Almighty to shower His blessings among all of us as we recognize leaders in our community whose efforts never go unnoticed. We honor a friend whose influence, impact, and contributions to our community were remarkable. And as we embark on an ambitious project to permanently affix in the history of this region the legacy of the Latino heritage, shine your grace upon those volunteers and strengthen their zeal and energy to ensure their success. Lord, we humbly ask this on your name. Amen. As you know, in events like this, the Latino community is not shy in asking many of you to be present, to be witnesses in these things. This evening is extremely special because, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are trying to encompass, as we finalize the Hispanic Heritage Observance Month, with great events that normally will be remarkable by themselves. But because of the great generosity and great contribution of the History Museum, the great effort of Celaya Miranda, that is a person that came from Brazil, stayed in St. Louis, has an incredible vision. We have seen that vision through the Bellas Artes Gallery, but also the fact that she's thinking beyond. She's always thinking, how can we make more impact in what our great history has done of people of our heritage. And that's why the History Museum was selected to be the site to do what we are going to be doing tonight. we invited a number of individuals. All of you are obviously very important people in our eyes. But because of time, we cannot introduce you to all of us. So I'm going to select a number of individuals. And I know that some guys, some cows, they feel like I should have been brought up too. But we'll do that after the fact. But at the moment, I'd like to bring to our attention the fact and the generosity of always spending his time with us, even though in a very short time, we'd like to introduce our Congressman Russ Callahan. Where's Russ? Right here. The chairman of the meeting, always present among us, even when you don't need our money. A great face that is becoming more of the Hispanic familia, even though that would be, in the Italian version, say the Godfather, but he's not a Godfather. You're a Godfather? No, he's not. One that never fails to come. You know, he really clearly understood what Hispanics are like. When you invite us to anything, we show up, even if you're not invited. But at least Charlie Dooley is always invited. Please welcome our County Secretary. A real member of the familia, because when I got here, she was actually a toddler, thinking what to do with her life, having a father that was a Puerto Rican and a mother that was from St. Louis. And she started working in very important things and got connected with people in Jeff City. And she felt that, yeah, I can make a difference. But in order for me to make a difference, my people need to be behind me. And she has done that throughout many years. And recently, she was very, because we knew she was going to do it. Let's show our appreciation for our senator-elect from the state, Maria Chapeo Nadal. There is a guy that always tried to play a very low role, kind of behind the scene. As we were coming interested in the entertainment arena, and had a place down on 3221 Wallace Street by the name of Club Dantes. And this friend in Jeff City said, "Hey, anytime you need any help from me, let me know." So he did. And beyond that, when he got in a great position up in Jeff City in the Office of Minority Health, he said, "I want to show you that we can also help with ideas and with funds." And he has done so. So I'd like you to welcome Mr. Joseph Paul. Joseph, welcome. And we like Joseph, because he always comes with a checkbook. I told you we had a lot of very important people here, but I have to get on to the program. I'm going to make an exception and present una abuelita. This lady has been here and is such a gracious individual that every time she shows up in a room, everybody feels very comfortable. For about 30 years, she was the consul of Peru. Now she's consul emeritus of Peru, Doña Rosa Schwartz. Rosa? Thank you. Now, to expedite I would like just to simply mention the names of some of the leaders, chairs, presidents of the Hispanic organizations in our region. We would like to hold the applause until the end of the list. It's not long, but it's here. I'd like, and this is in random way, there's no particular order. We'd like to say hi and please stand. The President of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Lupita Gomez. The Association of Venezuela in Missouri, Carlos Alarcón. The Ecuadorian Society, Jorge Guerrero. You please stand. José Pepe González, representing Peru. Omar Maldonado, Puerto Rican Society. Irma Martínez, Sociedad Hispanoamericana. Eileen Washington, Plan. Julio Villegas, Colombian Society. Susana Hamilton, Arts and Treasure from Latin America. Guillermo An Rodriguez, St. Louis and San Luis Potosí Friendship Committee. Mignoska Clarking, Bolivian Society. Betsy Matiasi, Panama. And many others from Puerto Rico. Let's give them a round of applause. Things cannot happen unless funds come forward. We like to thank just the one that gave us real money. The Missouri History Museum, as I mentioned before, the Missouri Office of Minority Health, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Metropolitan St. Louis, Ritmo Latino in St. Louis, the Hispanic Leaders Group of Greater St. Louis, Belas Artes Multicultural and Art Gallery, Webster University, Arts and Treasure from Latin America, PNC Bank, and of course, many friends and colleagues of the Hispanic community. Let's give them a round of applause for And do not forget Amory. So Amory is right here too. Thank you, Amory. As you were floating around this gracious and beautiful building, you were hearing some background music. And that background music was by a person that actually was born, I don't know, Jack Butterfield, great pianist, friend of mine. Let's give him a round of applause for Jack Butterfield. And a fruit, he's a jeweler. He has great diamonds, great gold. His business has been in Collinsville for over 123 years. And that was 5 years ago. So it should be 128 years. Now, okay. Jack, thank you, muchísimas gracias for your great support of us. I'd like to call forward our county executive who is here with us and say a few welcoming remarks.
Let me say good evening to you all. Good evening. Come on, Latino. Good evening. It is simply a marvelous evening. As I look at the tapestry, it says Hispanic American, strong and colorful threads in the American fabric. No question about it. You are a part of this community. You make this community what it is today. A great place to live, to work, and to play. But even more important this evening, what you're doing today, is Anthony Ramirez renaming an award that is significant. The legacy, he did such a wonderful thing. Thank you so very much. It's the right thing to do at the right time. On behalf of St. Louis County, I want to congratulate the Roy, the person who will get the award. I'm not going to say that person's name. I won't do that. But congratulations. Keep doing the thing that you're doing. You're making a difference in a lot of people's lives. The legacy does live on. Thank you.
We appreciate the presence of Charlie and Russ because I know these are very important individuals, public officials that have to go to many places in one evening. So we deeply appreciate the fact that you were present among us here, and thank you for your visit. As I alluded at the beginning, many things happen in life because we have individuals that have a great dedication and an immensible, a heart that doesn't fit in their chest. And one of those person is Celea Miranda Ewing. And I'd like her to come forward so that she can talk to us about that great project that she has been embarking on. Celea, please.
Welcome. And tonight is a very special evening because, as you know, there are many things we are celebrating. The Hispanic Heritage Month in itself is a major celebration. Not only because today Hispanics represent the largest minority in this country. Even though in our region, the population is not that big, but yes, we are making a difference. And one interesting thing that we are going to see in a couple of minutes as I go through a few slides is that Hispanics not just arrived here yesterday. Did you know that the first non-Native American that stepped on the Mississippi was a Spaniard, and that was in the 1500s. And after that, many others came in the 1800s with the railroads and others. So the presence of Latinos have come in waves, and for different reasons, they would come as welcome, and when they were not very welcome, they were deported. But who are here today, we have stayed, and we not only made a difference, we are making the future of this country. We are making this nation richer, beautiful, and stronger. So I will go through a few slides. It's about the Latino legacy. And the Latino Legacy Project actually has 3 parts. Let me just give the Latino Legacy is a project that is part of Belas Artes Latino Art Festival, which started 5 years ago. And initially, we were focusing on the art. And we started thinking, okay, the presence of the artists, the Latino artists in the region. And we thought, wow, this has much more than art. Latinos have been here in so many areas and professions. So the Latino Legacy has 3 legs. The first is to honor the past and recognize the presence and contributions of Latinos and Hispanics in the region and in the United States as a whole. And we are doing that tonight, recognizing Tony Ramirez from the past. The second leg is honoring the present, strengthening the current leadership. We, all of us who are here today, who have been here and making inroads and helping our communities and the people from all over who come here to call St. Louis region, to call the Midwest home. So that is strengthening our present. And the third leg is the future. Those of you, the youth, the Latino youth, we are forging the future. You know that in a very few years, Hispanic Latinos will be 1/4 of this population. And it's not only that, because it can be in 2 ways. It can be seen as positive, but also there are many who do not see that way. But they forget that the population, the age of these youth, the average age is between 25 and 30 years old. They are in the market. They are the producers. They are the ones that will be paying the social security of the baby boomers, who tend to be most of the times the ones against these first or second generation of immigrants. But we have to remember, this is the future of a huge nation who has to keep going, who has to continue productivity, not only to support all of us who live here, but to grow and support those who are coming after us. So the Latino legacy is beyond only Hispanics or Latinos. I invite you all to embrace the project, which is a multi-year project that goes from here. We are kicking off it today, honoring the past and the present. But we have to forge the future together. And the Forging the Future, we are developing leadership programs for youth. And we count with organizations that can help us do that. Other things about our Latino legacy, this is not the slide I was supposed to show, but I can keep going, is about our, let me see what I call that, how the history 1500s, we have a Spaniard. But in 1800s, the late 1800s, this country had the movement of railroads. And the railroads, coincidentally, would connect Mexico to the United States. And there was a big demand for labor to work in those railroads and to work and develop the agriculture and stockyards. And one very interesting thing that many of you did not know about Missouri, and especially St. Louis and Kansas City, between 1905 and 1910, St. Louis received the largest influx of Mexican immigrants in the whole country. So we were at a point in time the largest center of Mexican immigrants, followed by Kansas City. And then after that, Chicago. So anyways, things have changed. As you all know, the region is not it's not one of the East or West Coast, which receives a large number of immigrants. But yes, in a point in time, St. Louis was a center in which not only Hispanics, but Irish and Italians and Germans helped to make what we have here today. And after that, we had several things which we are going to be working with the Missouri History Museum. There was a program in between wars, not in between wars, during the wars, in which all the labor in the agriculture, stockyards, and industry, while the men were in Europe fighting, Mexicans and Hispanics were coming to support and to grow our nation. So that was in the early between wars, which changed in 1930, because then we had the Great Depression, so they were not welcome anymore, so they were let go. And then after that, the Bracero, which is what I was talking about, between the wars, the Bracero program was a program that had the visa, the work visa, that was bringing and really bringing lots and lots, millions of Hispanics and Mexicans to work and develop the country. So after that, which went all the way to 1960s, is when things started becoming what we see today, which most of you know is the history after the 1960s and 70s, when immigration laws have changed, and those who initially were welcomed and were very looked for to come and help, now are not. So after that is what you all know. So today we have the chance to make a difference. We have the chance to understand the history and be fair and educate others to demystify stereotypes against the Hispanics. So that is one of the main reasons why we launched the Hispanic and the Latino Legacy Project here in the History Museum. So just to complete, this evening we are not only celebrating this heritage, which in itself is a great thing, but we are recognizing with Premio Esperanza, which is the Hope Award, which changed today on behalf of one of our most loved leader, Anthony Lima Ramirez. And we are going to honor one of us, one that has been here and making many inroads and helping the community and embracing the spirit of Esperanza. So we have all that. And to close the evening, we are celebrating the bicentennial of 5 Latin American countries that this year complete 200 years of their independence. And we have a beautiful attraction with dance performances celebrating them all. So thank you for being here tonight, and please get involved with Latino Legacy.
To summarize what Silea just said, the latest census said that we have 48.5 million Latinos in this great country of ours. So we're taking over. You need to realize that. You know, we try to give you a little background to make you comfortable so that you know where we come from and who we are and all those kinds of things. The History Museum finally realizing that in fact we're taking over. So they open doors to Silea so that she can come in and we get part of it. So, you know, that's what's happening. Some of us that are getting in age are not afraid of saying, no, I'm just kidding. Of course, you know the history of this great nation. We are so diverse that we will simply want to make sure that you get a real nice mark of what Latinos are about. And we are not equal. As you know, we have about 21 different countries that are present in the Latino community. Most of them are here, and each of us have different aspects and cultures that make an impact within the neighborhood and the friendships that we have among our communities. Back in a while ago, when I was thinking about what are we going to do today, and Silea was considering that maybe it was a nice thing to add something else so that people know what's happening within our community. And she thought of something and I said, hey, that's a great idea. So we are going to now do the following. Postage stamps do much more than just make it possible for your mail to be delivered. For over 150 years, the U.S. Postal Service, through its stamp program, has celebrated the people, events, and cultural milestones that form our unique American experience. United States postage stamps help tell the story of our shared heritage, one that is immensely rich because of its diversity. With this in mind, we have a special presentation here this evening. I would like to welcome Nancy Freire, St. Louis Postmaster. As St. Louis Postmaster, Ms. Freire has administrative authority and operational oversight for the for the collection and delivery of mail to the 490,000 business and residential customers in the 631 zip code. Her area of responsibilities includes 28 stations and branches, 16 finance units, and almost 1,800 employees. Ms. Freire is the 36th Postmaster of St. Louis and happens to be the first female. Let's give them a nice warm welcome.
That was our male moment. Female moment, maybe? Thank you for that great introduction, and good evening, everyone. Good evening. I like that. And I need to make my apologies up front. I don't sing, and I don't have that wonderful accent that y'all have. I have the southern drawl, so I have to apologize for any mispronunciations already. It's wonderful to be part of your program tonight, and I thank you again for inviting us here tonight. And the stamp we're issuing this evening is the 26th in the Postal Service Literary Arts Series. And as many of you know, today is the last day of the annual celebration of Hispanic heritage. Very proud heritage. Nice to be part of this tonight. Thank you again. So it is indeed fitting that we've chosen this special time and place. I love hearing my voice. Great, you're singing, great singing. To unveil a commemorative stamp honoring the great historic poet, Julia de Burgos. How's that? She was born in 1914 in Carolina, Puerto Rico. Carolina. See, that's what I need some help. She was one of 13 children. 13. Can you imagine? I was one of 5. I have one son. Oh, 13 children. That's wonderful. Although raised in poverty, she did very well in school. By the age of 19, she had graduated from the University of Puerto Rico with a 2-year teaching degree. She was a self-determined woman, a young woman. You got a lot of self-determined women in the crowd. Yes? Had to throw that in there. Who deeply valued her freedom, her identity, and her independence. And her first love was poetry. Poetry. In 1937, she saw her first volume of poetry privately published. 1937. The Burgos' first collection was called Exact Poems to Myself. And it consisted of poems she wrote in 1934 and 1935. And one of the poems became her most famous. Okay, I need some help here. Rio Grande de Loiza. I practiced that all the year, which is a love song to river of her childhood. The stamp features a portrait of Julia de Burgos, created by the artist Jody Hugo. And that was inspired by that very same poem, the stamp was. And everyone who reads her poetry can feel the power and presence of the Burgos shining through every page. So hopefully you will do that. She spent many years in New York, but like so many people at the time, she was a passionate advocate of nationalism, with Puerto Rico as a great object of her love and affection. Sadly, she passed away in 1953 at a very young age of 39. And with the passage of time, her fame and legacy have continued to grow very bright. She has since won many posthumous honors, both in New York and Puerto Rico. In 1987, the University of Puerto Rico awarded her a posthumous doctoral degree, which recognized her contributions to the great island's literary culture. Very nice. And today, we get then honor her again through the issuance of a commemorative stamp in her name. Her story will be unveiled to countless others through the United States mail. Isn't that something? I think it's exciting. There's a lot more to be said about Julio, but I'm going to take this moment and we're going to invite Celia, come up and we're going to unveil this in just a second. And we're going to have a little picture taken a little later with everyone on the stage. That's the game plan. We are selling some stamps in the back. I have to plug that because we do need some help. All right, we'll have a mail moment. Yes. And we have a nice brochure in the back. You're welcome to it. Those are free. Stamps aren't. But, I want to thank everyone for inviting the United States Postal Service here tonight and being part of the program too. Will you join me?
As the stamp is unveiled, I'd like to remind all of the presidents, directors, representatives of our Latino countries to stay behind once we finish the event this evening so that we can take a photo with the stamp. Please. A drum roll. Only Excellent. Thank you, Celia. This is a great moment. It has never happened in our country, in our city, ever, right? That the first female postmaster to come here and do the right thing. Of course, Julia de Burgos is a very distinguished poetess, and Dinora, if we had time, we will call you here so you can recite one of her poems. But, this an evening is not long. Thank you very much for taking the time. I try to work a discount for the stamps, but she doesn't have that power. They actually want to increase the price of the stamp, but that will be another occasion. Wow. Now is another important moment in our program that will accentuate the impact that our contributions have made in our region. Please welcome our friend and leader, Maria Teresa Maldonado, that will highlight the Premio Esperanza and Antonio de Ramirez. Maria.
Buenas noches. It is wonderful to see so many friends here. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate your participation. And Tonight is a very, very special night for all of us. And if I might take this opportunity, a very special night for me, on a very personal basis, is the celebration and the introduction of the new Anthony B. Ramirez Premio Esperanza. The Anthony B. Ramirez Premio Esperanza Award is clearly stated in today's briefing program, so you can have a little bit of the definition and what we look for. This is an award that conveys the community thing to a person that throughout the years has unselfishly given of himself and contributed greatly to the activities and the betterment of the San Luis metropolitan region. It is the highest recognition that the Hispanic Leaders Group, a not-for-profit organization that is committed to the advancement of Hispanics in the region. And we do that not by giving direct services, but simply by coordinating, collaborating, and facilitating the advancement by establishing friendships and moving agenda forward that help Hispanics at large. Every year, the task is getting more difficult in selecting an individual or individuals as the recipients of this award. You know, I have been here since 1983. Our family moved to the beautiful city of Florissant for many, many years now. And we were a chosen few. Now we're many. And you can see that it is absolutely greater involvement by many, not only just Hispanics, but individuals that believe in the advancements of minorities, individuals that are part of the community at large. And we see that every single day more and more. And for that, we're very humble and we're very, very grateful. So when we're talking about Premio Esperanza, how do we select someone that is the person that culminates and basically represents this great legacy? We have people in the arts, we have people in language, we have people in universities, we have people in health. We have so many individuals that basically have increased the interest and the contributions to Latinos in the region. But this year, we had a very, very, very difficult yet very humbling and rewarding experience, because we selected an individual that has given tremendously year after year after year, and that individual basically is the glue that put things together. He's the individual that we call to see, well, what are the bylaws and how can we fix this? And wait a minute, we have these agreements here, so he's the one that has that expertise, and he's a great human being, a great family man, a great friend, and I say that from my heart because I've known him for a long time, and the Anthony B. Ramirez Premio Esperanza embodies just that. Doesn't have to be a Hispanic, but it has to be somebody that has Hispanic heart. And we're looking to years of that legacy, and I want you to please give a round of applause for Guillermo Rodriguez. We're going to absolutely, before we give him the prize, which is very, very beautiful, by the way. Gail, set it straight. I want you to know that this year we celebrated Tony's life. Tony was a great individual. Many of us knew him. I had a very special relation with this man. He was to me a mentor. And I can tell you many stories about Tony Ramirez. Boy, was he a bull. He was strong. And guess what? This Puerto Rican girl doesn't sit back either. So we had our moments of great discussions. And Tony's life is something that if you look at your program, you're going to see a lot of what he did, where he was born. And many of the programs include many of the data. But what I would like to do tonight is give you a summary of his life in a very personal way. This was a family name. This is Marilyn Ramirez. Marilyn, you can stand up for a moment, please. It's wonderful to have you. And behind every great man, there is always a woman. This is the woman that allowed him to come on X hours in the night, and he was still working, and she was still there for him. And this woman was the heart behind the man. They had two wonderful children, and Christopher, if you can please stand up. And grandson and his beautiful grandson, and also daughter-in-law. So he had a family. Besides that, he had a tremendous vision. You know, there's people that work, and some of us can follow a lot of instructions, but this man had a vision. And he had a vision, and the vision was very holistic. He knew where he came from, and he came from his parents from Mexico. He knew that he needed an education to be part of this great country and make contributions. So he studied. He went to Benedictine College for 4 years, and then he moved to St. Louis, and he went to St. Louis University, and he graduated in '67 with a law degree, Juris Doctor. And he practiced different types of law from civil, and he did many contributions. But one of the things that he did throughout his life was to continue promoting the Hispanic culture and issues affecting the Hispanic community. Tony got involved. Tony was able to establish a nucleus of friends. Tony was able to cultivate legislators. He was a true member of the Republican Party. He was the chair of the Hispanic Republican Party. Very proud Republican. But that did not mean that he could not collaborate with everyone. And he did. And he moved agendas forward. And he got involved. And he created the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in '82. The Hispanic Leaders Group, very dear to his heart. He was the chair for many years. In '83. He saw the population growing, and he saw that we needed to make change. So Hispanic Day at Jefferson City was established in 2002. And he went as far as getting us involved, actively involved in the political process through HISPA, the Political Action Committee. So he did a lot, but the most that he did was to serve as a great mentor for a lot of us. So we wanted to depict Tony, the man, Tony, the professional, Tony, the community leader. And with that, great idea that we were going to celebrate his life. And I would like to tell you that it was a wonderful project. We decided we needed to do a quilt. And we got some people involved. We have a strong group of leaders in this community. Nora Marito, can you stand up, please? Dr. Andrew Rainerson, Daniel Pacheco was not here, but he was part of our Latino Legacy Committee. Jaime Torres, of course, Guillermo, and there was a great person that helped us design. Actually, I'm kind of partial to those two because they're my son and my daughter-in-law. You can stand up. Omar and April. They really designed the concept of this beautiful quilt, and they are artists. And I am going to introduce to you Kim Esselman Smith. Kim. I would like for Marilyn and the children to please come and see the beautiful work of Mrs. Smith and the love that we have for you.
We're going to call forward the artists, the designers, and the family of Tony to come forward and receive the quilt that was made to endure the legacy of Tony Ramirez. As you can see, is depicted clearly of what the dreams and vision of Tony were. This quilt will be in exhibit and traveling throughout the state in the coming months. So there's two versions. The version that will be presented to the families right now being presented, and the other one that will be ongoing in the exhibit. Maria clearly stated what Tony meant to us. He was Mr. Hispanic in this region when we got here in the mid-80s, and I had the fortune of meeting him in a meeting as I represented Hermandad Hispana from Scott Air Force Base. And from that day on, we became very good friends, and he became my mentor in getting involved with issues and activities in the state of Missouri, although I lived in Illinois, still live in Illinois. So I think that this depiction of who Tony was is clearly stated and beautifully done by the artist. And you will have an opportunity to view this quilt and be part of it and see it as we have done before.
Please take a little peek at it in a moment, and we're going to continue with the program, but it is a wonderful, wonderful depiction of Tony's life, starting from the name of his parents, his children, and we represent Tony's life in a tree of life. And you're going to see the leaves, which are basically the great contributions that he had, his love for his party, for his family. You know, this man was a Green Beret, and he did quite a bit of skydiving and jumping, and he was quite ahead in his young age. So we're going to give Marilyn and the family an exact a second quilt, basically. And hopefully we'll have that for many, many years to come. And with that, we want to continue basically acknowledging Guillermo Rodriguez and Silea. I'm going to pass the mic to you so that you can give Guillermo his beautiful, beautiful award. So well deserved. Guillermo.
great citizen of the state of Missouri, Guillermo Rodriguez.
Felicidades, Guillermo.
Y a mí me gusta I'm not here to sing. You want me to sing? No, I don't want me to sing. Gracias. How many of you have heard of Pedro Vargas? No. Hector Gracie said he just knows about good boleros from the Mexican era of 1930 and the 40s. Pedro Vargas always finished a concert by saying, muy agradecido, muy agradecido, muy agradecido. So I can do that to the square, to the nth degree. Gracias. I am indeed very much appreciative of this honor, particularly this year, that it has been renamed in the name book. I have been here in St. Louis for more than 15 years now, and it was Tony, and it was Jaime, and it was Mirona Viñas, Marito, and Elena Garcia Peña, the first ones that actually asked me to get involved with the Hispanic leadership. Before that, I was already involved with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, etc. You have a little bit of my bio and things that I have done, and you can read about it. Now, today, I have to thank this crazy friend of mine. He's a man. He works with PNC. That's previously National City. I mean, it's PNC band. But Rafael Marin is the one that nominated me for this award, so I thank him very much for that. And I also thank the selection committee for thinking about me and thinking that what I have done, it's enough to merit this distinction. I really appreciate this. This is indeed very, very dear, and I value it very much. Last year, I served the Hispanic Leaders Group as the vice chair. And just about a few minutes ago, Maria Teresa Maldonado said that behind a man, a husband, there's a woman that makes the man do what he should do. Well, I was chair, and Maria Teresa was the chair. Unfortunately, Maria Teresa, because of term limits, could not continue on. But I value all that you have done for the Hispanic Leaders Group. I recognize you, and everybody that knows you and knows about your job also recognizes you. Gracias, Maria Teresa. I'm going to ask somebody to stand up. He will probably not like it. But he is one that represents the more than 25% of those young people in our community. I'm going to ask my oldest grandson, Leighton Eduardo Basilac Rodriguez, to stand up. He's here. He's one of 8 grandkids that I have. And right now, well, he's older than 5 years old. But right now, 26% of the children in the United States are Hispanics. They're not always Rodriguez and Perez and Ramirez. They can be Basilac. What can I say? I thought he was going to be playing baseball, but with that name, he won't. I will make this very short. I have to thank all of you for this recognition, but I want to present a challenge. message. The Hispanic Leaders Group is not only for leaders that actually represent official organizations. It's for anybody that is a leader by themselves and that want to contribute. So I ask that all of you that are not members consider joining the Hispanic Leaders Group. If you believe in what we do, we need more people to do greater things. This award, to conclude, is very meaningful to me because of Tony. I congratulate and thank the family for being here. You are truly appreciated by the community. And to conclude, I just want to leave you with two quotes. And they have to do with volunteer service. I have been doing volunteer service for a lot of years. For the last 12 years, I've been working at Webster University. And there's no way that I could have volunteered myself as much were it not for the time that Webster University, particularly my supervisors, have led me to be and enjoy and provide that service. It started in 1972 when I first joined Rotary in Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. I based in Ponce, not in Mayagüez. But he went to Ponce, Mayagüez to study. It's okay? That's an inside joke here about us. But listen to this. This was Martin Luther King Jr. We are prone to judge the success by the index of our salaries or the size of our automobiles, rather than by the quality of our service relationship to humanity. Mother Teresa said, love cannot remain by itself. By itself it has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Gracias.
Always been very interested, Charlie Dooley, in ensuring that the county also makes recognition of these achievements. But, you know, we end up with the better part of Charlie's staff. Joanne Gladney was left with the duty to read a resolution that Charlie asked us to present to Guillermo this evening, and I'll ask Joanne Gladney to come here on the podium, our Community Relations for St. Louis County Executive Office.
This is an absolutely elegant evening, and I want to thank Leah and Hispanic leaders for this just wonderful, wonderful event. It's just, on every level, it's just beautiful. It's been, Guillermo and I were talking this evening about how long we've known each other, and it's been probably about 15 years. And I have to say, and I say this on behalf of for myself and for County Executive Dooley, that it has been both an honor and a pleasure to count him as a friend. He's always been involved in the community. He's always been a person who, if you needed some help, you could count on him to come through. So it's a great honor for us. And this proclamation is kind of long. He must be important. Okay. Whereas in 1983, the dream of several local Hispanic leaders to have a more cohesive approach to the issues affecting the Hispanic community resulted in the eventual formation of the Hispanic Leaders Group of St. Louis, and whereas this cohesive approach benefits the metropolitan Hispanic community and the region at large. And whereas the Hispanic Leaders Group was the founder of the Primero Esperanza as the highest Hispanic recognition award to be bestowed to a local person who has demonstrated throughout the years his or her commitment for the betterment of the community in its integration into the fabric of the region. And truly we have done that. Whereas the Hispanic Leaders Group recognizes the great contributions to the community of one of its founders and his personal involvement and dedication to the establishment of Primero Esperanza, resolved to rename the award as the Anthony E. Primero Esperanza. Whereas the Hispanic Leaders Group yearly recognizes community leaders who excel because of their contributions to the Hispanic community and the region, and whereas the Hispanic Leaders Group has witnessed a long with other distinguished civic organizations in the region, the leadership and impact of Guillermo Rodriguez. And whereas Guillermo Rodriguez has truly demonstrated his selfless commitment over 14 years to matters affecting the Hispanic community in areas of business, health, education, cultural, political, and civil rights. And whereas the Hispanic Leaders Group of Greater St. Louis recognizing Guillermo's true achievements, selected him as the recipient of the 2010 Anthony E. Romero's Primero Esperanza. Now, therefore, I, Charlie A. Dooley, County Executive, St. Louis County, Missouri, do hereby proclaim October 15, 2010 as Guillermo A. Rodriguez Day. Thank you.
Oye, hasta un seguido en la mesa. ¡Qué rayo!
That was great. Thank you, Joel. I'm with you, Guru. As I told Celea, because the evening is not over. As we alluded at the beginning, and Celea did say so, this is a great year where 5 countries in our region have been celebrating their bicentennial of their independence movement. Therefore, I call Celea forward to introduce our next great event.
So, before we go to our next and final attraction of the evening, I want to ask who is here who comes from one of these countries that are celebrating their bicentennial this year. This year of 2010, we celebrate the bicentennial of 5 countries. Last year we had 2 others, and there are more to come. But I ask those from Venezuela, please stand up for a minute. Argentina. Colombia. Chile. And Mexico. Well, we are not only celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, but especially we are so happy for those countries that got their independence and, despite of all the problems throughout the years, are today thriving and growing, and not only making the Americas stronger, but contributing all over in a global economy, and we are here representing them. So congratulations you all. We continue to celebrate those countries, and I have the privilege to have a friend who is a choreographer who brought together dancers who will do here dances from all these countries. The Hispanic heritage will have the presence of the dancers, and I'm going to tell their names now, so in the end you're going to recognize them. We want first to special thank the wonderful local artists who contributed to this program, commemorating the bicentennial Independence Day of several Latin American countries, among them those that we just said. Credits are going to Carmen Sofia Dez, Group Atlântico Artist Director, Principal Choreographer and Costume Designer. And dancers in order of appearance: Joel Hernandez, Natalia Koch, Michael Tennant, A.D. Cavalieri, Carlos Pacheco, Leticia Ortiz, Otávio Neto, and Carmen Dez. And among them all, the drummer. Lead percussionist is Mr. Arthur Moore, a Grandmaster percussionist for the Catherine Duhan Arts and Community Center and the Catherine Duhan's Children Workshops of East St. Louis. Mr. Moore has performed at the state and nationwide, and he is a knowledgeable and wonderful teacher of the Afro-Caribbean drumming tradition in our area. He will be accompanied by great professional drummer Rafael Ariujas. With you, the dancers.
See an example of their talent and their dedication to our culture. Grupo Atlántico.
It's a group that was formed by Carmen Diaz, and the mission is to present the folk dances, modern rhythms, and legends of the people of the Atlantic coast of Colombia and other Caribbean regions. Carmen Diaz, a research associate professor in radiology at Washington University and a four-time master artist of the Missouri Traditional Arts Apprenticeship Program, founded Grupo Atlântico in 1996. Grupo Atlântico is an official presenter of the Missouri Touring Artists Program, the Arts in Education Program, and the Missouri Folks Arts Residency Program, all of them part of the Missouri Arts Council now. So hopefully they will be here shortly. Otherwise, put some music. And what I think, and this is the presentation that I was talking about when I didn't have the right slides. So hopefully you can see throughout this one all the pillars. And tonight we are honoring the past and the present.
My wife here that's taught me the right thing, and next to her is her brother Freddie, who actually helped me in design and doing the plaque for this evening. Thank you, Freddie, for all your great help you've done and the great patience that Raquel has with Jaime Torres. Okay, why don't I call forward all the directors or president of the Latino Communities organization that are here. We're going to bring the stamp in front. Rather than doing it at the end of the program, we'll do it in this little pause. We'd like to call Gilberto Pineda also on stage, as well as Carlos Alarcón, Eileen Wolfington, Dinosca, Susana, the board of the Hispanic Leaders Group. Jacqueline, sí, por favor. Yeah, the board of De Las Artes, they're also welcome. We're going to do it in such a way that the stamp is never going to be in the picture. Because we're going to have so many people here. Yes. Gabriela. Doña Irma, ¿dónde está Dinora? Gobarito, Dinora, la Junta de Hispanic Leadership, por favor. Marta representando a la República Dominicana, por supuesto. Nancy, please. Wait till we get in place. The circle needs to be moved forward a little bit. Or más. Yo voy a estoy seguro que todo el mundo. Okay. Betsy Matías, por favor, Panamá. Okay, now we take it down. We don't have to cut us too much. We're utilizing the time effectively. Probably Celia, if you don't mind checking with her. Don't take the stamp, because that's the only free stamp we have. The other one we have to buy. We're going to keep the stamp, because this will be part of the legacy, of course. Okay, Celia, about yes. And at the same time, if the Tony Ramirez family and Sidney, please join us in a picture to go around the equipment, and we'll take care of this logistics. As we Sidney, you're welcome to join me, please. No? You were part of the family. And now, Cecilia, if you go take a picture of the work of the family, the process that will work out. And we actually appreciate your patience. This is not untypical of a Latino event. We cannot disrupt the process, because otherwise people fall asleep. That's the way it is. Fortunately, the bar is closed. Otherwise, the place will be totally empty. But you're going to be thoroughly entertained by the great performances of Grupo Latino, and it's always nice to wait for that. They're doing some changes in the background. Like Guillermo said, if you're interested in joining the Hispanic Leaders Group, there's some available forms. I think Hector Arocha brought some blank forms to join the Hispanic Leaders Group. You're welcome to come. We meet 6 times during the year in the second or the odd month, the even month of the year. And we meet at different locations, primarily at the board meets at Ino's, Tapas and Westbridge, the great supporter of us. And we meet at De Las Artes and at different locations throughout the city. And we have events whereby we try to provide further education to our community in topics and themes that are of great importance. And particularly today, where we are having real partisan issues being brought into the attention. So Grupo Atlántico is here, okay. And the first, do you have any idea of what their first presentation will be? So why don't we call Celia back so that she can introduce the pieces that they're going to be presenting, and then the technician can get ready with the music.
So we are getting ready for that. And just so for a clarification, this initiative of Belas Artes is in collaboration with the Hispanic Leaders Group, because we thought it was a very good time, a very good coming together. And with the support of Belas Artes board and directors in their vision to bring our Latino Art Festival to venues where not only our Latino community can come together, but it can be meaningful by bringing together partners that today's Hispanic Leaders Group, and we hope next year, in the years to come, we have all the Hispanic organizations joining us in making the Latino legacy a reality. Now, we get the attraction of the evening, and we start with the celebration of the bicentennial of all those 5 countries I mentioned. The first dance and music is an Aztec war song from Mexico, and our dancer is Joel. México.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, the great artist. Thank you to the Tony Ramirez family for sharing this great moment with us. As you know, Tony was here with us. I feel that he was here present with us. That's the great memoir and legacy of his great life. You're going to be watching this day after day, bringing all the good memories of what he did, because we will continue year after year memorizing his contribution to our community with this great award that we have renamed the Anthony V. Ramirez, Tony Ramirez. Thank you for your presence and enduring this great event. Thank you, Silea, for her leadership and the Hispanic Leaders Group. Thank you, History Museum, because you are a really great place. And thank you for all the sponsors that made this thing possible today. Be safe on your way home. Con mucho cuidado y que Dios los bendiga. Buenas noches.